We're taking a look at the SWAC, MEAC, SEAC, and CIAA. It's the Sports Kings HBCU Report.
All right. And today on the HBCU Report, we're being joined by a dude that I know very well. Mentor, brother, cousin, daddy. He's been everything to everybody. Being joined right now by first-year Savannah State University head football coach Steve Davenport. First off, Steve, thank you for joining us on Sports Kings Radio.
Oh, Rob, you know it's family, baby. That old Panther family never forgets. It's good to hear from you.
No doubt about it. Thank you. Of course, first-year head coach down at Savannah State. You joined the MEAC, where they have some very competitive teams down there. When you guys kick off the regular season on September 3rd versus Albany State and the Music City Classic, what can we expect out of Savannah State?
Well, we're looking forward to it. The community of Savannah is excited. As you well know, sports is the ultimate in having the ability to start over, and everybody forgets about what's happened in the past, and everybody starts anew. So we're looking forward to the new season, Rob. We're going to be hopefully a lot more competitive than Savannah State has been in the past. I don't want to give away a lot of secrets to Albany State until they see us, but we'll show up and be ready to play.
All right, now, of course, unfortunately, sorry to bring up the past. Last year, they had a 1-10 record until you took over. Understand that your coaching history is with Georgia Tech and a lot of coaches from Georgia Tech on the staff. What do you bring to the MEAC with that kind of experience?
Well, one of the things I focused on when I got the job in January was bringing the best staff that I could find, and I think I did a pretty good job of putting together a group of guys that are going to be able to lead these men not only on the field but off. Not only do I have 4 fellow Georgia Tech graduates with me, I've got one of my best friends in life, Terrence Mathis, who played with the Falcons for all those years. Going to be my offensive coordinator. So we think the staff, I think the staff's a really good staff, and there are a bunch of guys that are eager to prove their work in this profession. So we've been working hard since we got here late January as a staff, and ultimately on September 3rd we get to show what we're all about, at least the start of it anyway.
Sports Kings Radio, News and Talk 1380, WAOK. Ryvan Dean being joined live on the line by first-year Savannah State University head football coach Steve Davenport on this week's HBCU Report. Now, Steve, you got the job right before signing day, National Signing Day, and you went out and you were able to do pretty good, in my opinion. This go round after this season, what kind of players are you going to be targeting to help bolster that Tigers team?
Well, what we did, Robert, like you said, I got the job in the middle of January, but I've been recruiting at UAB for 4 or 5 years, so I was familiar with a lot of the people that I wanted to go after. So I just used those groups, to be honest with you, and went on back home, got me 4 or 5 DeKalb County products, and just started calling guys who I knew in the profession that respected me and was able to go to their kids and say that Coach Davenport's going to take care of your sons at Savannah State. So we were fortunate, very fortunate in terms of recruiting. But what we did, Rob, is we just took an approach that said, hey, let's get a class of guys that will be the base of Savannah State 4 or 5 years from now. We'll all be proud of what we brought in. So we found 29 high school kids. It was kind of in the MEAC, it's a little bit different. You look at a lot of the MEAC rosters and you see a lot of transfers from Division I. But we wanted to be able to focus on that one class, a group of guys that we thought would be the solid base of Savannah State in the near future. So we did that, and we felt like we got some good guys. We were ranked, fortunately. Somebody thought the same, but they ultimately got to prove themselves on the field. So they've had a good camp. Obviously, they're still young pups, but we're going to have to throw some of them in the mix and see what they're all about early.
All right, now without giving away too many secrets, Coach Davenport, are there some players of note that we need to watch for this upcoming season?
Absolutely. We feel like Justin Babb, our starting tailback, is going to have an NFL shot. We think Reggie Givens, our starting defensive end, outside linebacker, is an athletic guy that might get a shot as well. But I'll tell you the fortunate thing, from my perspective at Savannah State, I inherited a really good senior class. We've got 19 seniors, and that's the most seniors they've had at Savannah State in a long, long time. And those guys are really anxious to get that losing moniker off of themselves So they've worked tremendously well. We blended in, like I said, the 30 or so kids we brought in. And then you just never know at this time of the season how that blend's going to mix up until you kick it off on the third. So everybody's anxious and a little bit nervous about what they're going to see from our perspective. So we can't wait, just like the fans of the community of Savannah can't wait.
Sports Kings Radio, Coach Steve Davenport, Savannah State University, on the line with Robin Dean on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Now, Steve, for those that aren't really familiar with you, let me just go back into history for a little bit. Of course, you played wide receiver at Southwest DeKalb for Coach Bud Godfrey, the DeKalb County all-time leading receiver until here recently. Their record stood since the early 80s. Hate to show your age, Coach. But
don't show me too much.
You also were a 4-year letterman over at Georgia Tech. Did big things there. And then as a coach, you joined the coaching staff over at Southwest when I was a junior in high school, and you led us to 2 memorable seasons, one that included a state championship. And then you went over to Decatur High School and did the same thing. You turned that program around, and you guys went all the way to the semifinals at the Georgia Dome. And so I would just have to say that with your track record, I honestly believe that you would be able to, go into the MEAC and honestly turn things around.
Well, I've been blessed and fortunate, Rob. I appreciate the accolades, but I've been really, really fortunate. Let me back up on you now. I didn't lead that Southwest Cavs team. The ultimate lead over there in that whole community, Buck Godfrey. I was one of his assistant coaches, and I don't take much credit for leading that team. I just take a lot of credit for doing what I was responsible for doing.
And which was what, Steve?
Well, I don't want to get into that, but I appreciate the accolade, Rob. I do. But I've been fortunate. I also say I've had a lot of good guys working with me, and I think that's the ultimate, having a good staff of guys. You can't do this job by yourself. There are too many good football coaches that you're going to compete against. If you're trying to fight them one-on-one, it's going to be an ultimate losing battle. But I've been fortunate enough to have some good players, some good coaches that have partook into my staff, so I don't take all the credit myself. Obviously, I just want to try to get my job done, and whatever credit comes, it comes. Speaking of MEAC, though, I mean, we're excited about being there. I mean, ultimate. If you talk about MEAC, you compare it with the SWAC, and obviously those fans of the SWAC will think the SWAC's better, and those fans of MEAC will think the MEAC's better. I think they're both tremendous historically black colleges that have good football players, good football coaches, and good football programs. I'm anxious to see where I stand up. If we're going to struggle in this thing from the onset, it gives you a chance to adjust yourself, or we're going to jump out there and be the big news on campus in the MEAC. Looking forward to seeing where we fit in the MEAC this year.
All right, real quick, Coach, with your local ties here in Atlanta, how do you think that's going to help you in recruiting in the future for Savannah State?
Recruiting is going to be the ultimate thing. I mean, we're going to recruit Savannah. I think you always have to try to recruit your home, excite the community. But our second step is going to be at Metro Atlanta. We've got 8 coaches on staff, and 7 of them have an area of Atlanta. So we're going to focus on Metro Atlanta. That's north, south, east, and west of Metro Atlanta. And naturally, we'll focus on our DeKalb County roots. I've got 3 DeKalb County graduates that are coaches. So we'll focus on our DeKalb County roots. And we feel like we can get any caliber of player to make ourselves successful in the MEAC right there in DeKalb and Savannah. So obviously we're going to spread across the state and get what we can get, but our main focus will be Metro Atlanta.
All right, Coach Steve Davenport, Savannah State University, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Kings Radio. And one thing really quick, Steve, how did those Edward J tapes I sent to you, how did those work out for you?
Man, you know everything old school. That's how we do it, man.
That's right. No problem. All right, Steve, we'll be talking to you as the season progresses, all right?
Thank you, sir.
Anytime, Rob. Y'all let me know.
All right, man.
Hey, this is John with the spoon. Bang, 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 bang. Don't nobody go in the bathroom for the next 35 or 45 minutes. You are listening to Sports Kings Radio on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. This show is so good, make you want to smack your mama.